Dear students, you are welcome to Psychology Department. I am very happy that you have opted for psychology. I, as a psychologist, can say that it's a fascinating subject, and it's a very interesting subject and very important subject. Yes, why is it interesting, do you think? I said it is interesting and important. Why do you think every subject is important? Which subject is not important? Okay? But I am saying it is important and as well as interesting. From your point of view, from students' point of view, what do you think, why it is important or interesting? Psychology as such. You please open up, don't have any inhibition. Our classes should be interactive, then only the learning will be effective. So, teaching learning process should be active, it can't be passive. That was there in school. Now, you have come to college, wherein learning should be two-way process and it should be active. Okay? Even if you say something wrong, there is nothing wrong, because if you know everything, then what can I do here as a teacher, right? So, you please open up and say whatever it comes to your mind, why you chose first of all psychology, those of you who have chosen psychology, right? And why do you think it's important and interesting? Anyone can.
Whatever I know of psychology, I know that it deals with us human beings directly. Any other profession, it indirectly goes, it helps, but psychology directly deals with human beings. And that is what interested me, got me interested in the subject.
Okay, very good. That is probably by studying psychology, you think that you understand yourself better?
Yes.
And probably understand others better?
Studying the mind, that's what I heard from people.
Okay.
We learn psychology so that we can study others' behavior, but I chose the subject to study myself, to know what kind of a person I am and how I can better relate to others and other people around me.
Any more?
Sir, my dad is acquainted with psychology, and the way he behaves with me and the way he deals with the problems in life, it was different from others when compared to others. So I like the way he deals with his life.
Right.
And I felt that because of his psychology knowledge, he is doing that. So I felt this subject will be useful for me in my life also. So I took this subject.
Right. And then, can you think of any field where psychology is not relevant? I don't think there is any field where psychology is not relevant, because it is the human beings who are instrumental to do constructive work or even destructive. So, construction, destruction, both are possible. The riots, violence, terrorism is because of human beings. The other day, the launching of Chandrayaan, and then that is also done by human beings. So, ultimately, this knowledge of psychology should help us and every human being, as a matter of fact, to be constructive in whatever they do for the benefit of the humanity, the society as such. So, if we talk about definition of psychology, I am not going into very, very elaborate definitions of psychology, which is not all that important in the first class itself. Then what is that you understand, or how can you define psychology? Do you have any vaguest idea about what is that we study in psychology?
Maybe it studies about human beings.
Okay, it studies the human beings. Okay, study of human beings. Very good. We study animals also.
Okay.
Psychology study animals also.
Okay. Sir.
Right? And then, why do you think the research on animals take place, either in pharmacy or in psychology? Are you familiar?
Yes.
In pharmaceutical companies, the research is done on
Animals.
animals. Whether we ethically right or wrong, let us not get into those details, right? But it is being done, right? Why do you think the animals, the research is done on animals in pharmaceutical industry?
Maybe that is because we cannot experiment on human beings, that's why they do it on animals. And it's easier to do on animals than on human beings.
Right. Some of the experiments we can't do with human beings, And probably it's easy to control animals rather than human beings. Because we ourselves can't control ourselves, where is the question of ourselves continuing others? So that is one advantage of using animals as the subjects in our experiments. This is what is done in psychology too. Then in psychology, in what way do you think the experiments conducted on animals will be useful to understand human behavior? Ultimately, we are interested in understanding human behavior, isn't it? So, in what way do you think there is a connection between animal behavior and human behavior? Is there any connection? Which animal resembles are nearer to us in behaviors? Monkeys, right? So, psychologists have done a lot of research making use of chimpanzees, monkeys and all that. They have done experiments with rats also, cats also, pigeons also, right? So many animals they have taken. And then they are done on human beings also. Now, let us focus on human beings. You said studying of human beings. What is that you are studying a human being? I am a human being, she is a human being, you are a human being. What is that we study in a human being?
The human mind, how the person thinks.
Okay, human mind, how the person thinks.
Maybe the actions, what the person does.
What the person does, what is how he thinks, right?
Emotions, sir. Human emotions.
Okay. So now to sum it up, what all you have said is behavior, actions, thinking and then emotions. Like that there are a few other things pertaining to human beings. So then how do we define all these things together? Can you define psychology in your own terms? Do you think psychology is a science or an art subject? Science. Oh, why do you say it is science?
As it is dealing with the human mind.
Human mind, okay. Suppose physics is science, let us say, right? In what way psychology, when you say science and history or languages, they are not science, isn't it? Probably psychology is science. Then is it same on par with physics, chemistry, etc.? Yes. Why?
Sir, just now you said that we conduct experiments on human beings and animals. So, in psychology also we conduct experiments on human beings and animals, and in physics also they conduct experiments. So, that is why it is a science.
Very good. Yes, we do experiments as any other natural science people. So, we can claim ourselves science. In the later classes we will see in what way psychology is different from other sciences. That let us not say, but it is a science. So, whatever we study, it will be scientific. It is not arbitrary. It is not arbitrary. It is scientific. Then what is that you study in a human being? She said mind, and he said behavior. So, once you say it is a science, simple way of defining psychology is scientific study of
Human behavior.
human mind, behavior. So, psychology is nothing but a scientific study of human behavior and mind. Then the next question is behavior observable? Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
You can see it. Can you see mind? No. So, then how can you study mind? Okay, behavior you may, because you know, you observe it. Okay. Can you measure behavior? Can you describe behavior? Right? Anything you act, any way you respond is a behavior. But more than one person may behave in the same manner. Right? Two of you are here. When I said something, you are nodding your head. Why she is nodding her head may be different from why he is nodding his head. Behavior wise, it is same. So, then what made her to nod her head may be different from what made him nodding his head. But outwardly, their behavior is same. Behavior is same. So, it is easy to study behavior, but it is very difficult to study what happens inside the mind of an individual, isn't it? So, but as psychologists, you will know how to study mind also. That is an interesting part of it, right? How to study mind. What is that mind and all that, we will learn later. If this is the definition, or if it is the meaning of psychology, what you are thinking, then what should be the goals of psychology? What is the goal of psychology? Suppose, or are you familiar with any psychologist any time? Have you heard or have you read anywhere about psychologists? Have you heard the term psychologist at least? Those who are thorough in psychology are called psychologists. Simple, right? Then who needs the services of psychologists in our society?
I've heard psychologists counseling. So that's one field that I've heard that psychologists are into.
Okay.
Actually, people who are mentally sick or mentally ill, they need psychologists.
Okay, mentally sick or mentally ill. Okay, I am putting only your words, terms. Okay, right. Probably those people may need the help of psychologists.
I looked in the TV, sir, like they will be telling about how to plan, how to prepare for the exams and all that things.
Okay.
So in planning, in that kind.
Okay, planning, how to plan anything to do from students' point of view, how to study for examination.
Study for exams.
How, so that if you follow a particular method, you may perform better compared to another method, or which method is better, and all this type of research is also goes on. So then, some fund of knowledge has come in psychology. Lot of knowledge is there in psychology. So how do you think the knowledge comes in any subject? Through research. There are two types of research normally in any field: the basic research and applied research. Basic research reflects the quest for knowledge about how and why people behave, think and feel the way they do, right? That is basic. Then what do you think the applied one? Applied, have you heard of applied? Application of something, what is the applied field? How do you apply knowledge at home? Any knowledge you have acquired either in school or by your from, what is that? You learn probably how to cook, right? How to prepare a good dessert. That is knowledge. You may read a book, your friend may tell you, or XYZ may teach you, or you learn somehow or other how to prepare a dessert. When do you apply? When it comes into application. Suppose someone at home wants you to prepare that dessert. Then what is that you will do? You will apply all the knowledge you have about preparation of dessert, and ultimately you take out the product, isn't it? So that is application of knowledge. So in psychology also, there are a few who take up research to add knowledge to it. There are others who use this knowledge in the field for the welfare of the humanity. The applied research uses this knowledge to design, implement and assess intervention programs to solve specific practical problems. In psychology classes, whatever happens, you should take it as an experience. And then you must know how to use this experience in your day-to-day life. Even if I scold, you are angry, even that is good, no problem, right? So even that you will say, I should not have been like that. If you think that I should not have been like that, when you grow old, you should not be like that. Again, if you behave like me, then no learning, or you are wrong. Subject knowledge is only a pretext, I must say. But what you learn from the rest of others' behavior, interactions is much more. If only knowledge you have to acquire, the textbooks are there, right? Your internet is there, you can sit before that and then learn. Then why should you come all the way to the class? Why should you sit with others? So it should have some qualitative change from what you learn by sitting before a computer or by reading just a book. So, that qualitative difference you should experience in your everyday class. So, then a few people who do or who investigate certain problems in psychology come under those who opted for basic research, and those who do certain other type of problems are grouped under applied researchers. Okay. So, this determines ultimately what is the goal of psychology. You said understanding human behavior, that is what you said, isn't it? Then what is that understanding human behavior? One is you describe, then anything else? What is the point in your describing behavior? Okay. Now, cricket match goes on. In India, Indians are likely to lose the match, In certain places, the behavior of spectators will be different. In some other places, behavior of the spectators are different. In some places, as a protest or as some dissatisfaction, they coolly walk away and then leave the stadium. Some other place, what happens? They throw stones and what not, and they accuse players and all that. That is also behavior. This is also behavior. Same thing happened. India losing at both two places. But the behavior of spectators at one place is different from the behavior of spectators in another place. Yes, description of behavior. So far as description of behavior is concerned, it is same. They are behaving like they are walking away. You can say here. There you will say that they are pelting stones. What is happening there? Anyone tell? Then in what way psychologists should be different from others? Any observer will say what has happened. You need not have to go. Right? Sometimes the news editors and all, they call us over phone. Sir, this is what happened. What do you think as psychologists you say? Right? Like such calls you will also get in future. Right? So, then that means anybody can observe whatever is happening there, all of us observe in the same manner. Then what is the role of psychologist here, do you think? Is it description? No. Description anyone can do. What is the speciality of a psychologist there?
To be able to point out why this person is behaving like this in this place and this person is behaving differently in this place. So there's a difference in behavior. How, there's a difference in behavior between these two people.
Right. So you will investigate into the why or probably the causes for those people to behave in that particular context that way, and in this context this way. You will explore some. That is one goal. This is another goal. Okay. By observing, analyzing, is that enough? Okay. You have analysis, this behavior. This is what most of the research is ending here, unfortunately. You observe something, for example, suicides nowadays, all of you are familiar, suicides among different communities, either it could be students, or it could be farmers or whoever it is, right. That is, this is happening, described, this many deaths have taken place due to suicide, fine. Why also, probably the reasons are known, why X, Y, Z or a particular group of people are succumbing to suicides. Then if you analyze and leave it, that is enough. What is that you should do?
By knowing the reasons,
Right.
they can prevent,
Right.
they can reduce.
Correct. By knowing the reasons, as she said rightly, we take future precautions such that at least the frequency of such incidents will be reduced. So, that also you should know. Then you will come up with 1, 2, 3 measures to be taken. That is what intervention programs you have seen in applied research. You are given 1, 2, 3, then you want to see which of these 3 are useful, more effective, more useful. No single technique will be equally effective with the different groups. So, even that you should be aware. As psychologists, you should suggest this technique works with students, this technique works with farmers. Just because a farmer committed a suicide Just because a student committed suicide, you can't use the same mantra or technique for both. Here, they are adults. A different technique you have to employ there. And here, they are youngsters. And then probably you have to adopt some other technique. All these things, as psychologists, we will be studying in the days to come. So, to sum it up, the different goals of psychology. The first and foremost goal is to describe how people and other species behave. Then the next thing is what Chris has said, causes of behavior. We should know what has made an individual behave this way, what made a group of individuals to behave in this manner. We should predict how people and animals will behave under certain conditions. Then by prediction, that is, in a similar situation, probably human beings behave like that, animals behave like that, okay. Then what is the next thing you have to do? You have to influence the behavior through the control of its causes. Why students committed suicide, right? Look into a cross section of students, take out some generalities out of that, and then probably come up with some programs so that they don't lose their young lives, right? And don't you think that if you do that type of research, you will be doing a lot of service to a section of people? And remember, most of the students or whatever the group we may be discussing might not have committed suicide, but they must have gone to the verge of suicide. They might not have committed. Only those who committed, only we know the number, but many have gone to the verge, and by God's grace they have come out. Not really, the real intervention has taken place either in the educational institutions or at home. It's by pure chance they escaped that. So don't you think that those of us, we are aware of such things, we should go with some list of intervention programs and probably influence the educational institution authorities to do some of these programs for students, and like that, different groups and different communities. Then we have to apply psychological knowledge in ways that enhance human welfare actually. Ultimately, what is the objective of our study? People should be happy, isn't it? Forget about sadists. Those who want to be unhappy, who want to make others unhappy. Or if these two terms, masochists, are those who want to be unhappy, right? Inflict injury on themselves. Sadists are those who inflict injury on others. Leave out those two fellows, or those two categories. But the rest, all of us belong to that category of the rest. Don't you think all of us would like to be happy? In the present day society, the problems are plenty for human beings. You talk to them, anybody closely, you may come to a conclusion that no one is happy. You will be surprised. Outwardly they may be smiling. Outwardly they may be having positions, all that. But heart in heart, most of them are not happy. So really what is that happiness? How to make them happy? So till very recently, the emphasis in psychology research is to investigate into the problems of mentally sick. I am just putting in quotes, right? I am not using that term because you have come up with that term, I am using it. So we will find out the reasons for it, we give treatment, okay, like doctors. A physical disease is there, a doctor, he gives prescription, like that. Psychological disorder is there, then a psychologist or a psychiatrist will help him to come out of the problem. But as psychologists, the emphasis nowadays is how to make people more happy, and prevent. Mostly the emphasis on prevention rather than cure. Earlier, the emphasis was on cure, at the most a little bit prevention in physical diseases, but absolutely no attempt has been made in prevention of mental disorders. Now the emphasis, the latest trend, what is known as positive psychology, they are looking for how to promote health among the human being and help human beings to lead a better quality life. Has it made any qualitative difference to you when you entered the class first time without knowing what psychology is? And I hope I communicated something about what psychology is. And then in the classes to come, there are a number of applications of this psychology, number of fields where just I mentioned there is no field where psychology is not relevant. I will prove that next class how it is so relevant in so many fields. And what is happening around us, you will be studying it. All that. And also how you can call yourself scientists, right? It is not that you, like anybody, you tell forecast or something. No, if you predict, it is a scientific prediction, right? So how you can do that? So what type of different methods of psychological research, and these two aspects in the classes to come, I will cover. We will meet again tomorrow in the next class, and then enjoy yourselves today. Good day.